Hi, these comments are for IC. This is Michael from BetterTOEFLScores.com. So you're doing some independent writing practice. Let's take a look at the email you sent me. You say, I just completed independent writing practice test number 27. Please evaluate it ASAP. Do any YouTubers, do you guys know what ASAP means? Put it in the comments below. I tried to use a technique of choosing a specific topic for details from lesson 5.5, how to show depth and complexity of thought, so it would be interesting to hear back on how it improved the writing. You are so teachable. It's incredible. After reading this essay, I have a really good feeling here. You are really, really close. I think 5. I really do. I think 5 is right within your abilities right now. Not next month. Right now. So, when I read the essay, your essay effectively addresses a topic and task, is well organized, well developed, using clearly appropriate explanations, examples, and/or details. This is where you really, really shine. Displays unity, progression, and coherence. Displays consistent facility in the use of language, demonstrating syntactic variety, appropriate word choice, and idiomasticity, though it may have minor lexical or grammatical errors. So I think that I'm going to put you at 28 to 30 points on this particular practice test. Okay, let's take a look at the topic. It has recently been announced that a large shopping center may be built in your neighborhood. Do you support or oppose this plan? Why? Use specific reasons and details to support your answer. So this is what you wrote here. Now, I copied and pasted it into Microsoft Word so I can work with it a little bit, make it a little easier here. Okay, first of all, let's see what Microsoft Word thinks about your sentence style and vocabulary. Okay, take a look. Average words per sentence is 27, thumbs up. You have characters per word is 4.7. You could probably get that a bit higher to say 5. Your grade level is adequate. Your Flesh Kincaid grade level is 12.7. So that looks good. So everything that you've done so far, I think that the E-Rater, ETS's artificial intelligence, will definitely like what you did. Okay, so I'm going to read it in just a minute, but let's look at what you did in terms of depth and complexity of thought. So you said, if I were to choose to build or not build, I would support the former, because in that case, I would spend less time going to markets, locals would have more job opportunities, and it will be easier for me to find specific things. So this is your thesis right here. Now, what you've done here is you talked about a school festival, and you developed the school festival idea in the first, second, and the actual third body paragraphs. You developed that same idea. And then you talked about these 3 points in the thesis as relates to that school festival. So indeed, you applied exactly what I was teaching in that lesson. You really have some really good, what I call depth and complexity of thought to this essay. The whole key is focus, right? So let's take a look at what you wrote. I'm going to make a few corrections as I go through it. People disagree most of the time in various topics, and the one about building shopping malls is no exception. Conservative types of people could say that the new shopping center, I'm going to just make this singular, would eliminate local farmer markets and increase traffic, whereas more progressive ones could argue that it is always great to construct new buildings. Now, if you want to match the tone you've already created, and it would always be great to construct new buildings in the vicinity, since it could increase wealth and economic stability. So now the tone is more consistent by putting the word would be in there, which matches what you did before. Now you're using that and in the beginning of the sentence. It was a little bit too much. You did it too many times here. I don't even think you need a connecting word here. If I were to choose to build or not to build, I would support the former because in that case, I would spend less time going to markets. Locals would have more job opportunities, and it would be. See, now you're kind of going back and forth. You have would versus will, and it would be easier for me to find specific things. Okay, it looks like in the next paragraph you're using will. Okay, first of all, large shopping center in the neighborhood. I'll put would save me from spending much time on the bus. For instance, this October I had a school festival about rich culture of our region, such as the Kazaks and South Russia traditions, which implied for us I'm going to put implied is not the right word, which encouraged us to create authentic costumes and decorations for the school theater. The problem is, however, that in this same October, all students had midterms, so we really had, you want to put, a tough time preparing for both events. And I'm going to change this to therefore. It would help greatly if there would have been a large shopping center in the vicinity, as we would spend less time going to the other shopping mall located in the downtown to buy various materials. Okay, so I like how you take this idea and you connect it to the school festival. Second of all, constructing a new shopping center probably would help greatly in providing jobs for locals. Continuing the example of a school festival, materials for authentic clothes cost a lot. My parents already have They have a difficult time supporting my studies, buying new books, giving money for me to have a meal in the school cafeteria, etc. And I'm going to put and in here because you only have those 2 points. And I'm going to get rid of this, say, as a result. It's a little bit informal to put coordinating conjunctions in the beginning of the sentence. I mean, you can do it, but it creates a less formal tone, and I think you want to create a more formal tone here. As a result, having a new source of money would solve the problem. Instead of saying and here, I'm going to put in addition. A shopping mall would provide opportunities for schoolers to have part-time jobs like I'm going to just put like cashiers. And there's no need for the comma here because that do not require. This is I don't know, if you look at it as being necessary, you don't need the comma. If you see it's additional information, you do. If you put the comma in there, you're going to have to use which, not that. You can't use that with non-restrictive clauses, so we'll change it to which do not require advanced skills, college degrees. How about further? In the long run, Instead of it can be a little bit weak. I'm going to use a gerund here to kind of showcase some more advanced grammar skills. Further, in the long run, building a shopping center will not only solve the money problem with the festival, but also provide schoolers with precious work experience. Excellent with your parallelism here. So, with not only plus verb, but also plus verb. So, excellent there. And then we have our last idea. Finally, a shopping center in the vicinity would make finding specific things easier. For instance, we did not only have a theater performance planned for the school festival, but an authentic market as well. I'm going to put which required that we... I'm going to use subjunctive here, which required that we cook our traditional pierogi, borщ, and many other dishes. And let's use this. Furthermore, to prepare the meals, we should have some specific ingredients that are not only used nowadays in everyday lives, that are not used nowadays. Let's change this one to hence. Having a large shopping mall in the neighborhood would help me find you can use e.g., but I don't think you need it here. Just make it at help me find specific vegetables that grow only in the vicinity of the closest city of Anapa. To sum up, I wholeheartedly support the idea of constructing a large shopping center nearby, as it will save me from spending too much time on going to markets. It will provide job opportunities for locals, and it will make finding rare things a lot easier. Okay, so let's go back to the rubrics. Let's say displays consistent facility, syntactic variety, yes, appropriate word choice, and minor lexical or grammatical errors. You got some errors in there, right? You have a few of them, and I think there's an overuse. The one thing that I'm having a little bit of trouble with is there was kind of an overuse of those coordinating conjunctions using them in the beginning of the sentence as transition words. So I changed some of those coordinators to more formal transition words. I think that helps. I think that my score that I said initially is accurate. Anybody at YouTube, do you agree or disagree with the score I'm giving this student? I'm giving the student a score of 28 to 30 points according to the rubrics I'm looking at right now. And I think that the really strong point that you did here is number one, you don't have a template thesis I've seen a million times. You have a very specific thesis in the beginning of the essay that kind of frames the three body paragraphs. Now, what really puts your essay above most students is you took those 3 points and you related those ideas to the school festival. And you talked about the school festival in every body paragraph, and that really shows a lot of depth and complexity of thought the way you did that. So I think that you have effectively applied what I was teaching you in that TOEFL lesson 5.5. So I think that you're moving in the right direction. The only reason I'm not confident in saying 30 is you had a few minor problems with either word choice or your overuse of those coordinated conjunctions as transition words. That's the only thing that worries me a little bit. And that kind of affects this syntactic variety, right? If you do too much of the same thing, it doesn't become different. It becomes similar. And it makes the sentence style the same over and over and over. So too much of the same thing you have to be careful about. But anyway, thank you for doing the writing practice test. And remember that I'm very confident. I really believe this. I think that you are really right at that threshold. I've had many students get 30 on the writing section of the test, and I really feel you have now entered this group. this elite group of writers who really know how to structure ideas, and especially you do a brilliant job on the examples that you provide in each body paragraph. Very, very strong writing.